Hey guys, Christina Marie here, and I'm actually going to be doing, it's one of the categories from Top 5 Wednesday, but I don't really participate in Top 5 Wednesday, so I'm not going to call it that. It's, I was inspired because I saw a couple of the Top 5 Wednesday videos when they do best character development, best character arcs, and so I wanted to do the same thing, but I don't really participate in Top 5 Wednesday. As I may have said in a previous video, I think it was probably for one of my book reviews, I typically place my books into 3 different categories: world-driven, character-driven, or both. And my favorite is definitely character-driven, but world-driven, if done really well, is amazing. But I just wanted to share with you some of my favorite character-driven stories. Now, some of these have really big worlds too, and while for some people, the book may have progressed really well because of the world, for me, it's definitely character. So I thought I'd share with you some of my favorite character-driven stories. So the first one is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. These are in no particular order. I'm just grabbing them as I go. I love this story. This is probably my favorite Colleen Hoover book. I just really love the premise. I love Ridge in this story, and I really love Sydney. It was just a really great story that held my heart from beginning to end, and it was because of these characters. When they were in pain, I was in pain with them. When they were happy, I was happy with them. This story actually has one of my least favorite topics in it, but because the characters were so lovable and just so real, I just was there all the way. Ridge, just the development of Ridge and Sydney, both of them, they just progressed beautifully together and individually. And by the end of the book, they were not the same people they were at the very beginning. And that is what drew me in. They were 2 totally different, but still themselves. They were different, but themselves by the end of the book. I loved this story. Up next is Under the Never Sky, the trilogy. This is actually the 3rd book. I don't even have the 1st and 2nd book, but I have the 3rd. I loved this series, Under the Never Sky. Oh my gosh. Granted, that book starts off extremely slow, and I was not there for it, but by the 2nd and the 3rd book, I was totally there, and Perry and Arya were my, I was rooting for them so hard. I loved this book. I love this series. I love this, it was trilogy rather. The characters, and not just Arya and Perry, but there were so many others. There was Roar and Brooke, and just I think Liv is another one. There were just so many great characters in here, and they all had their own individual little progressions that they needed to go through, and their own little things that they needed to go through. And I just, by the end of this book, I was so content with how this book ended, and I was just so on board with where Veronica Rossi took these characters because it was just done so well. The emotional roller coaster that I went through with this series, just, there's nothing like it. I love it. Next, I have 2 books, same author. Heidi McLaughlin. I have My Unexpected Forever, and then I have Here With Me. This features a guy named Evan Archer that, I love Evan in this book. I love Evan in this book. He's my favorite. He is my favorite. But then in this book, we have Harrison, who is a drummer. I've talked about this book several times because Harrison is my ultimate musician / bad boy character, fictional boyfriend. Like, I love this. Both of these books have fantastic character development to the point where I sometimes just can't even believe that these guys aren't real. But I just love these books. Heidi McLaughlin, why do you do this to me? So good, you guys. They are so good. Do you hear me? So good. Of course, we have The Book of Ivy by Amy Engel. The characters in this book, like Ivy is phenomenal. Bishop, phenomenal. I really loved both of their progression, Ivy and Bishop. They developed at their own pace with the, you know, indirect help from each other. Bishop at the beginning of the book is not the same Bishop at the end. Ivy at the beginning of the book is not the same Ivy at the end. It's just the growth of these two. It wasn't fake, you know, it wasn't unbelievable. It was just beautifully written character development. You just can't help but fall in love with both of these characters because of how well written they are. Like, I don't even know how else to put it. I love Bishop and Ivy. Together, yes, but separately as well. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Celaena in this book. This girl is a kick-ass warrior, fairy, magic girl. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She doesn't necessarily start off like up here, but she is gradually getting better and better and better. She's always been fantastic, but she gets better and better and better and better with each book. I love this series. I'm hanging on to the series. Yes, the world is amazing, but I am rooting for Celaena. I love her. This is a horrible, ugly cover, but whatevs. And then finally, we have Jace, Waylon, Herondale, whatever, from the Mortal Instruments series, and Alec Lightwood. Both of them are my favorite in terms of growth in this series. Jace, while he is pretty much the same from book 1 to book 6, he has grown. By the end of this book, you will notice, if you pay close attention and if you love Jace in this series, just the world as much as I do, you notice how Jace has grown. He's grown. He really has. He's still himself by the end of the book, but he is still grown and he's different by the end. You can't be the same after what everybody in this book, in this series, goes through. But let's talk about Alec too. Alec, this book is huge and heavy. Oh my gosh. Alec was probably my favorite in terms of the best development and the best character growth. Just in this book alone, Alec really shocked me in the best way in this book. He did everything I had been wanting him to do from since book 4, and he did it all here. I love Alec in this book so much. He said the things that I wanted him to say. He did the things I wanted him to do. I knew he had the potential to be the way that he is by the end of this book. And Jace, like I said, Jace is Jace, and he will forever be my number 1. He will always be my number 1. But Alec really surprised me in here, and I loved it. Oh, this is still my favorite series of all time. So those are my choices for my all-time favorite character-driven books, really. I just really latch on to really great characters, and when they progress at the right pace, at the right levels, at the right times, I'm in love, and I just can't help but latch onto them and want to grow with them and just go along on the journeys with them. And that's what I did in these books. I just went along with these characters, and I loved every moment of it. So before I go, I got a little package in the mail today, and I don't know what it is. I really don't. I know it's a book, but I don't think I ordered anything, so I figured I'd do like a little unboxing here to see what's what. It's a copy of The Cemetery Boys by Heather Brewer. This book is actually coming out on March 15th. I am actually going to be reading and reviewing it for thefandom.net and as well as Lulo Fangirl. So be on the lookout for that. This here is a young adult thriller, I guess. A horror maybe. It says Friends Till the Bitter End, The Cemetery Boys. And let me read what it's about real quick. When Steven's dad says they're moving, Steven knows it's pointless to argue. They're broke from paying mom's hospital bills, and now the only option left is to live with Steven's grandmother in a backward small town that's like something out of the Twilight Zone. Stephen Summer starts looking up when he meets punk girl Kara and her charismatic twin brother Devin. But when harmless nights hanging out in a cemetery take a darker turn, Stephen starts to suspect that Devin is less a friend in his group than he is a leader. And he might be leading them all to a very sinister end. Sounds fun. Well, not fun, but interesting. So I will be reading this sometime next month. So yay for that. But that is it for this video, you guys. It's long enough. Thanks so much for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below with some of your favorite character-driven books/series. I would really love to know. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you later. Bye.